Welcome to today's Value Talk. And today's Value Talk is not about, discussing a particular domain. It's more about learning from our guest tonight, who just made a switch to the corporate sector very recently, and he has done it quite successfully, and he's landed himself a good job with a big Indian conglomerate and a well-paid job. And in fact, he had more than one job at hand before he made the switch. So how did he do it? And that too, when he's not from any technical arms or service having any kind of supply chain experience, or uh, he was not a specialist. And so let's get straight to the talk. Let's welcome Colonel Razzaque Adil.
Yes, sir. I'm there. The link had expired and I rejoined.
Okay, no worries. So before we move ahead, ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Razzaque is a Gurkha officer. He commanded his platoon successfully, and he has, experience of all kind of counterinsurgency. Plus, he has been in NSG. He is an expert in aviation security as well as counter hijacking expert, and he's part of various security forums. He's a known personality in this thing, and his LinkedIn, he's very active on LinkedIn also. I'm sure that you guys have connected with him on LinkedIn. If you have not, do send him bombard him with your link connection requests, and I'm sure that he will definitely accept all of them. So Razzaque, today's talk is little different from what we have been having. So I'll just tell you that we have been calling guests from various domains who are those domain experts. Basically, they have spent too much of time in corporate sector. They transitioned into corporate sector some 8-10 years back, and generally this has been the profile of all those people who have been in our talks early before you. But today, talking to you is very, very relevant, because you have made the switch very recently. Yes. And all these people who are there today, there are approximately 50 plus people with us, and they are either already in the corporate sector, or most of them are planning to switch to corporate sector. So, and they are all very eager to know how you did it right. So let's hear from you first. So you are, as I understand, you're in the corporate security and services, corporate services, security and corporate services. So what are you doing? And first, can you just give a brief background? When did you leave Army, and before leaving, what kind of preparation did you do?
Sir, walking backwards, I actually I retired from service on 31st of August, and on 9th September, I joined my present assignment.
2022.
Yes, sir, 2022.
2022.
Yes.
That's so good to hear, because for all those people who are planning to make a switch, so it's this thinking, yes, it is very much possible to make a good career outside as well, right?
Yes. So therefore, since I'm actually quite new in this sector, so I will keep my talk more towards the transition process itself, sir, rather than speaking about the corporate life, because I think there are other people who are much more qualified than me in this. So now, like I said, 31st August was my last date. And if you ask me when did I take a decision, I would say I would have taken the decision 2 years back. I took the decision in 2022 retire. However, that time I was in command of my battalion, and therefore I had to wait to hand over command and so to come to a position or a appointment from where I could apply for my PMR. So then I got posted to Delhi, and then I had 1 year, so to say, in my hand to undergo this entire process. And that is what I used to the best of how I felt I could use, and that's how it started. Now, since you asked me, sir, what all I did before the transition itself. So what I used this 1 year was firstly to find out things. I joined each and almost all the forums which are available, whether it is Forces Network, it is a DATR group, and of course now ValueTalk is there, but that time ValueTalk had not yet started. So I joined some of these groups. Somewhere I found value, some I did not find that valuable, but I kept like taking the inputs from everywhere. And then I underwent career counseling by Colonel Sajan, who is a career counselor, and he does it for many veterans and children also. And in fact, he was my instructor in NDA, so he knew me personally also. So I did everything. In fact, like some of you would have heard of that book, "What Color Is My Parachute," which is like the book to go to for for any sort of career change, not only for the military but for anywhere in the world. For it's a very famous book written in the 1970s and reprinted every year in the US. Even last year, it was reprinted. So I did everything, I would say, broad base, and thereafter some opinions, or you can say some like thought formed out about the options which are available, and then for each and every option, what are the things that needed to be done? Because what I was clear that
So when was this? This was
so
how
in
long back?
so this was in 2020, sir.
2020.
Sorry, 2021, sir. You can say
Right.
my transition is some from January 2021, I can say. So I did this thing that was the first 3 months wherein I did not do anything but just keep attending and interacting and learning things from people. Thereafter, then I did many things, like I got active on LinkedIn. I started some certifications, and then also then streamlined the process for putting up the papers itself, because that process itself is also a process which requires some amount of efforts and deliberation on our part, because you have to time it correctly. So, and then this, I'm not going into detail about a certification on sir, at right now, because I am sure you will ask me questions on that subsequently. And then when I put up my papers, that is the time I applied for the DGMR course. So DGR course, and so DGMP course, sorry. So I did my DGMP course from IIM Lucknow's Noida campus, which is a 6 months course. And that course finished around 24th of August. 31st August was my last day. And then by that time, I had interviewed and got selected for this particular assignment. And then I joined here on 9th of September. So that
So
is broadly the journey.
that's an amazing. First of all, I must appreciate your thought process and clarity, that you took the decision right well in advance, and then you set out to start preparing for the future course of action. So that is what is required, and that is what I have been advocating in this forum, that if you know when you have to come out, then you might as well start preparing well in advance, and minimum 1 year, and sooner the better you start preparing, if even depending upon what you want to do, whether it is an MBA, whether it is some certification, 2 3 certifications. It is better that you start preparing that much earlier, in case you already have known. So that is very good thing, Razak, that one thing which you have brought out. And so once you did your DGR, it's called DGR course, right? DGR resettlement
It
course.
is called DGMP, sir, Director General
Okay.
Settlements
Okay,
Management.
DGMP. Right. So, okay, in our time, it used to be called DGR resettlement course. So, okay, so DGMP course is, so when you were doing DGMP course, and when you came out, so you applied for this. As I know that you got this job through the campus placement, but before this, only you had secured a job with the same conglomerate.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so how did you go about that? So we will come to this campus part later. But how did you secure that job? And what was the job?
Right, sir.
You
So,
don't have to name the company because I understand that you have certain restrictions in your company, so it's okay.
yes, sir, there is a policy. So I would not
Right.
name the company, but I think most of the people here are intelligent enough; they can guess. But anyways, sir, so basically, when I joined the DGMP course, sir, I understood very well, especially for officers of our seniority, were the PMR cases. The short service officers are young in age, and I would openly say that most of the campus placement offers that come, they actually suit the profiles of short service officers more because they are in their 30s. That is the age that the corporate is looking at them. And the CTC, because you would obviously like to go for a CTC which is more than what you are earning in the army. So it is very easy for the corporate to match those CTCs. Whereas
Right.
in the case of a colonel, we are already in a 35 plus lakh, not even CTC, even the financial equivalent is 35 lakhs plus. So for that, to better that, the company has to definitely. So broader point being that I knew that there is a chance of campus placement, but one has to be quite lucky to get through campus placement, and therefore one's individual effort should start from day one to look for opportunities. So I did that. Now what happened was, like, I coming particularly to that particular, I was looked for a SLP role in retail in the same company. So it was purely 4G network. I had been reaching out to everyone I knew who had already transitioned into the corporate, who are in HR or for that matter in other departments also, and one or people days to refer to me to somebody. So like that, I got a call from one of my seniors who didn't know me otherwise, but he was referred. My name was referred to him. He called me. He spoke to me for 5-10 minutes. He found some value in me, so he asked me to send me my resume. When I sent the resume, after 1 week or so, he got back to me and he said that interview is set up. And so the interviews process started. It was online, of course. So there were 3 rounds of interview, and then they told me that the HR will make me an offer. So that is how that one came through. And then the decision why I came to the other one, we can cover later, sir. But in that particular thing, what I want to highlight is that especially officers who have served 20 years or more, by that time, a lot of people in the armed forces do know you. People who are already transitioned or who are not transitioned, but and people ask about you. This is almost a given. All companies, if they are unless it is a MNC, I mean international MNC, not Indian MNC, where probably it does not come into that much, people definitely ask around about you, and therefore your spoken reputation in the organization itself does matter. Because in my case, I got calls from 2, 3 of my seniors that so and so had called, was asking about you, and I have given a feedback about you. And obviously, the people who have called me would be the ones who would have given a positive feedback. They may have been a call to somebody who did not call me, and I don't know. So the larger point here is that our spoken reputation, fortunately or unfortunately, does travel into at least your first job into the corporate, and one needs to take a little care about that. That is what I would like to say.
Right. And in fact, that will be right throughout your career. Uh,
Yes.
it's not only the first job, so it will be throughout your career. Somewhere it will be, it will always matter. And this also brings out one important factor is that you have to keep your network alive, keep in touch with people, keep in touch with people. It's not only for getting something out of that, is out of those connections. You have to keep the network alive just to be in touch, and you don't know what will go in your favor, or maybe you may also be in a position to help somebody. So uh, and in the long run, every connection helps, so keep the connection alive. And besides this, Razak, you have also been involved in a lot of uh, you know you have been a very avid reader and writer also. You have been writing. You have also done some kind of some certification in disaster management also, I think. So what qualifications did you acquire before joining the corporate?
Okay, sir. So three particular aspects to come to a profile where I wanted to be. So I felt that when we come into the security management and risk management profile, there are two, three things which are sort of in the corporate field. They are connected, not directly, but at some level, yes. One is the business continuity part itself. For example, when we had the COVID outbreak, in every company, the people who got involved in this entire effort of managing how people will come to the office and all that involved not only the security people but also people who are part of the business continuity process. So here I saw, like a bit of a amalgamation of both the roles. And the disaster management, basically, I took it one step further of business continuity because I feel the world that is coming to is definitely going to be a world of where sustainable business management and sustainable processes are going to gain ground. So this particular, though I'm not trying to say the other courses are not good, but this particular course of disaster management, which is run by Tata Institute of Social Science in Mumbai, and is in collaboration with the International Red Cross Society. So in the International Red Cross Society executives, when they have to go beyond a particular point, they are supposed to undergo this course, and this is done for the entire Asia Pacific in by this in Mumbai. So it has its own value, and it is a very sort of a exhaustive course. They will make you do a lot of work in terms of submissions and all. So here I would say that has not directly played a role in my job, but or my job application process, but it has definitely given me some amount of knowledge which probably in my journey from here I will be able to use. Now coming to the certifications are very shortly, sir. So on the security front, I did the CPC, CPP, sorry, that is the Certified Protection Professional Course from certification from ASISs. And though there are many certifications in this domain, I think I may be biased in this because I am also a ASIS coordinator now. That this CPP definitely adds value to the security domain of one's resume. So I did the CPP, and for business continuity, I went for the Continuity Institute, which is in UK. The first certification is called CBCI, that is the Certificate of Business Continuity Institute. So that is also something I did. So these three were the main certifications that I did, and in that 1 year that I had.
So very impressive. So what I get out of this is, first, you had made up your mind to come out in 2022, and so you made up your mind in approximately 2020, and then 2021 onwards, January 2021 onwards, you started preparing for it, and finally you came out somewhere in August 2022. So that's approximately 1.5 years plus. So,
Yes.
so that's a very good takeaway for all those who are planning to make a switch. Second thing, what you said was that you had already identified the domains where you wanted to go. So that is another clarity of thought which is required before you actually make decide that yes, you want to now hang your uniform and make a switch to the corporate sector. So he had already decided two domains which are sort of interrelated, but yes, still very different. So that clarity was there in your mind, and then you started acquiring the requisite qualifications and certifications pertaining to those lines, so that those domains. So that is a very good, very systematic and very good approach, which everyone should observe in this particular talk. And as I understand that before you came out, you already had a job. I mean, you had. I mean, before this campus interview, you had cracked another job, which was equally good. May not be, it may be 18, 19, 19, 20 kind of a difference, but you already had a job which is which again is quite good. And then while you had that job, and when you secured another job through the campus interview, you had that kind of negotiating power with you.
Definitely.
Is that right? So,
Yes.
How did you secure that job, which was not part of? Okay, that was through networking.
That was true networking.
And what kind of job was it? Was it a security domain job? What was it?
No, it was the SLP role in retail.
Okay, in retail.
Yes. So
Okay,
SLP, you can, I mean, like we you can present it as a middle ground between security and operations. Right. So
right,
that's
right, right. So I can start guessing now the company. No, I know it, but then
I think you can even guess who was the person who interviewed me.
okay, right. So that's good. So, Razak, what do you think in your case? A lot of things you did right, and then those things uh, cleared the path for you. But all these people who are there today, uh, what do you think they should do? Uh, I mean, which is applicable to all. And first of all, I would like to make a clarification here. The title of the talk, which somehow uh, I didn't see it earlier, and I don't approve that title. The title says generalists, okay, and I don't think that infantry officer. I don't think I don't. I believe I'm a strong believer that infantry officer is not a GD, generalist or whatever it is. Neither is an armored officer or whatever. Every one of us, whether you're from infantry, armored signals, ASC, ordnance, we are all specialists in our own domains. Okay. In fact, we may be specialists in one or more domains. So uh, we purposefully kept that uh, title. I had a very long chat with Vipul, who's the co-founder along with me in Value Talks. So the thing is, we are trying to challenge this particular idea only. Lot of officers are of the opinion that, sir, I am a GD, and so many of them talk to me, and they say, sir, we are GD, and we are not from signals, we are not from ordnance, we don't have any such qualification. Till the time you don't value yourself, the world will not value you. Definitely not. So please stop saying that you are a GD soldier. You are not a GD soldier. You are a specialist. Now you may be a security specialist, you may be whatever specialist, but you are a specialist. So pitch yourself as a specialist. Only then corporate will also start accepting you as a specialist. Otherwise, if we don't value ourselves, why would anybody else value us? So that is the point. It was then we retained that title, and we said that we would challenge the title during the talk. So that is the thing. I hope, Razak, you admit. I mean, you agree with me, not admit. Agree with
Yes,
me
sir.
that we are all
I
specialists in our own domains.
Yes, I agree with you fully, sir. I think only distinction, even that is a very thin distinction, but still I felt it from the experience of the 52 people who were doing the DGMP course, and now more than half of the course is placed. So when I see it, I could say there may be some difference in the job market for a technical and a non-technical officer. And when I say technical, it is also relevant tech. For example, I'm sorry to say this, but if you have done civil engineering and you are looking at a job, you would have it slightly tough today probably than IT guy, because IT in the I am talking of the last 2 years when IT really boomed. So in my course, everybody who had anything to do with IT, I mean whether they were BTechs in computers or especially the cyber security people, those who have done CISP, they got I mean like two of them even left the course halfway because they got such good jobs. So there is, I would say, in the last 2 3 years, and because my spouse itself herself is a software engineer, so I have seen it from close quarter. So IT has boomed in the last 2 years. So there some amount of advantage this definitely the technical people had.
Yeah,
That is there.
see, that will always be there. It is like it's like uh, in our uh, armed forces also. Okay, if you are an infantry officer and there is a job of a BM, okay, so the infantry officer always have infantry or armored officer, etc. They will always have a uh, better chances than engineers or signal officers. So it's like it's
Yes.
It is only that kind of advantage. But it's not that, these people are not going as BM, or there are infantry officers I know who are in technical,
Yes.
within the army, highly technical. So
Yes.
it depends. What is your capability? But GD, no. We are not, nobody, none of us is a GD. So let's not call ourselves GD. Okay. Uh, how can you be GD after so much of years and taken part in counter-insurgency operations, etc.? Gone there, set up the security setup, and uh, did so many other things. You can't be GD then. Okay.
Definitely.
Anyway, that's a separate discussion altogether. I would also like to touch upon the campus interview.
So
So it was how easy it is after a DGR course to get a job. I just want to know that out of how many, what was the batch strength in your batch, and how many got the job through the campus placement?
Sir, on this, I will request you for 2 3 minutes because this is something I think the important question you have asked. So now, when we join the DGR course, a lot of people have asked me this. Though I have got it through the campus interview, I would be very frank to say that the DGR courses, the institutes themselves do not help us in the placement in any way, because it is not in their mandate, because the IIMs have a very strict this thing that they will do placement only for people who have done at least 12 months of a course, that is their 1 year MBA courses. However, so the every student body themselves form a placement committee, and then it is upon the ingenuity and the effectiveness of the placement committee formed by the students themselves that how many people they can reach out to, from where they can manage the interviews, and also a little bit of luck factor. Now, till a few months back, Amazon was coming to most of the campuses for the DGMP courses. Right now, they had a hiring freeze in between, so probably they are not. They will start again. In our case, this is actually our batch is the first one where the conglomerate that I'm working for, they actually came for placement, campus placement for the security vertical. They had come for other verticals, but they have never done for the security vertical. But because a lot of positions opened up, so they came. So that luck thing will of course play a part. But I would say that when people ask me this, कि, यार मैं ये course कर लो तो job लग जाएगा, I would say yes, if you put your effort. वो अपने आप नहीं है. It's not like a given. It's not like a actual IIM MBA of 2 years or 1 year. कि nobody goes without a job. That is one. But at the same time, one good thing what I have observed from my course, that it has been like just 2 months or less than 2 months, or 3/4 of the course has got placed. Of course, the superintending officers who are at a particular age, because they also have a location fixed
Constraint.
constraints. So some of them are getting into that. But what, as far as because I keep talking to most of them, I think most of them are going to be into something in the next 3 months. So
Very
that
good.
way, yes. Like, so to answer your question, sir, in one sentence, everybody does get a job, but eventually, not everybody will have a job in hand the day they are passing out of the institute. That is one. And now, how this helps is, what is this? Yes, in most of these companies that we aim for, the bigger struggle I felt was to get to the interview stage itself. Interview, most of us, is not that big a struggle, because we are able to speak with so much of experience, and even a short service officer has got so much of experience to speak of that we do generally well in the interview. Now, get shortlisted in for the interview is the challenge, and therefore, if you can get a campus interview, it really helps, because you are directly coming to the interview stage. So my recommendation would be that if you have the time, do this course. It does help. It definitely teaches you the business terms and language that used in the corporate world. So yes.
Great. So I would also like to draw attention, everybody's attention to, if you people have seen, if you people attended master class on CV writing, and that also I mentioned, if you get to the interview stage, most likely you will crack the interview, because generally the toughest part is to reach the interview stage, especially if you are not going through campus placement. It is very, very difficult to get the interview call. And but if you reach the interview stage, most likely with little bit of preparation and research, I don't think that army officers, I mean, armed forces officers, not army officers, armed forces officers should have uh, much difficulty. Okay, so
Yes.
aim to get the interview, to reach the interview stage.
Yes.
Okay, so that was a good input about DGR course, and thank you, Razak.
You gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down.